He announced an agreement that could result in relief from U.S. and European Union nuclear-related sanctions, which include some oil-related sanctions. If the agreement is implemented and sanction relief occurs, it would put additional Iranian global supplies out there. So we could see more of that in the pipeline in the near future. Let's see, that would put them, I'm looking at the chart here, per day, I would put them in 2015 and a little bit below 3 million barrels per day, and it could go up some. Japan has restarted its new nuclear reactor there. And we reported this earlier, U.S. Refineries, and we'll go a little bit more into this later. And let me jump back here to the latest, and I guess was the wind farms. Okay, so we have taken effectively care of that. We'll skip to Europe next, but we just want to do one particular item here. This is the number of production wells in the U.S. and the state of North Dakota. It's a little different situation there. That the wells, in fact, have went up in number now, but as far as the number that is actually viable at this point in time, it's a little bit different situation. There has been a cut, and I wanted to grab that graphic here, and sometimes, unfortunately, if we'll get this in just a second here. Okay, here we go. An uncertain outlook for North Dakota. We found this and marked it 10,000 of these shale oil wells. They now topped that in North Dakota mouse, and that was in June. And just reading from this article, out of the Midwest, the industry facing continual low crude oil prices is finishing off previously drilled wells. And in the Balkans of Three Rivers played in June brought a total of 10,113 to be exact. They completed 149 wells. And this is also more than 2,700 legacy wells from before the boom. They did have some before that time. The oil wells increased in June. Crude oil output from that area to 1.21 million barrels per day, up 0.7% over May. Placed that's from the Division of Mineral Resources. Said things could get worse, no doubt about that. Are we going to have see some better prices? Are we going to see further contraction in the oil fields? No doubt about that. The number of new rigs in North Dakota is down to 74 in August. A third of the rigs count at the peak that was in May of 2012. The Continental Resources, the largest producer in North Dakota, said it has 10 rigs in the Balkans, but is prepared to cut the number by 20% if lower prices persist, and they are one. Now, North Dakota hit another record of 1.6 billion cubic feet of natural gas per day. Was announced there by another company. And there was another statistic here we wanted to bring forward. Okay, benchmark crude, has declined to $42 after rallying in June to $60. North Dakota crude trades at a discount to the Oklahoma benchmark because the high cost of transportation of most by rail. This was there. North Dakota wellhead price estimate was at $28.50 a barrel, down $11 from last month. Now, this is something new to me. As we do these, we find out something. I'm not certain about what the Oklahoma benchmark is, and I guess we get it here. The Oklahoma benchmark. Oh, wait a minute here. No, it's not what we want. A different one. Well, we'll have to get back to that one later in the ball game and find out exactly what they mean. But now we'll flip to Europe as we normally do on iHeart, more so than our implementation over at Blog Talk. And we'll get to the market survey here so we can spice up the life of Europe a little bit here, and we'll get to it right now. Banks lead the way in strong financials. These top banking sector rankings support joint quickest growth of financials in 8 years. Growth of healthcare sector slowed sharply. Now, what this is actually is the market European sector PMI was out on the 7th of August. Financials are the fastest growing broad sector monitored in July. The last market European sector PMI showed banks topped the detailed growth rate at the start of Q3, following other financial strong expansion in output, also registered in beverages, automobiles, and auto parts. In contrast, data highlights a sharp slowdown in activity at healthcare companies, with healthcare services the second worst performer. Banks returned to the summit of the EU sector ranking in July, reinforcing its dominant status, having recorded the highest average in Q2 as a whole, with other financial and real estate also drawing strong. Financials output growed joint sharpest rate in 8 years. Notably, beverages surged 13 places to third in July. Meanwhile, data for healthcare was less buoyant than in June. Growth eased sharply to joint weakness since its constant sectors, pharmaceuticals, biotech, and healthcare both tumbled down the league tables, falling 10 and 13 places respectively. Construction materials propped up the sector ranking in July thanks to first month contraction in more than 2 years. Manufacturing generally underperformed these service sector counterparts, with construction, engineering, and metals and mining near the foot of the index. And let's see, we can get the rest of this. This is Dr. Williamson here, and the Purchase Managed Index PMI. Well, we got that part of it, and it just shows the basic sectors. So we'll leave this. But look at some of the other sectors here, and this is the European economy. We'll go now to the BBC and get the rest of the story. The IMF calls for Greek debt relief here. The IMF called for relief. We'll receive, 86 billion euros. That is 61 billion pounds in loans over the next 3 years in return for tax raises and spending cuts. Christine Lagarde welcomed the agreement, warned Greece's debt has become unsustainable. She said the company needs significant relief well beyond what has been considered so far. Greece cannot restore debt stability solely through actions on its own. Very good point there. This includes $10 billion to recapitalize, 10 billion euros, to recapitalize Greek banks, and 16 billion in several installments, the first of which will be 13 billion euros and will be delivered for time for Greece to repay 3.2 billion to the European Central Bank by the 20th of August. It comes at a political cost to the Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras, who has faced rebellion in his party. More than 40 MPs voted, of course, against it. And this is some of what is going on here. The total bailout, 85 billion euros from the European Stability Mechanism plus IMF contribution, and 50 billion euro trust fund from previous privatization of assets, and what they call a bringings loan to cover immediate repayment there. That's a 7.16 billion there. And a Euro fund for growth and new jobs, 35 billion euros. So thus, Greece is in a hot spot, so to speak there. Eurozone economic growth, 0.3%. The first estimate, this is from Eurostat, marks a slight slowdown from the 0.4% registered in Q1. The Statistics Agency also announced that inflation in the Eurozone was 0.2% in July, unchanged from June. Earlier it announced that France's economy did not grow at all between April and June. But growth in the first 3 months of the year was revised up 0.6%, from 0.6% to 0.7%. The German grew at 0.4%, up from 0.3% in Q1. The Italian economy grew 0.2%, slowing from 0.3% the previous quarter. As 128 member euro grew 0.4%, which is unchanged from the previous month. 11 member states reported deflation in the month, with Cyprus recording the biggest drop, a negative 2.4%, Malta 1.2%. Strong exports, that's from France. This country's economy was still on track to reach the government's forecast of 1% growth. Paltry, but it's better than nothing. He highlighted strong exports. They grew at 1.7% in the quarter, having grown 1.3% the previous quarter. Growth in consumption by households showed slowed sharply from 0.9% to just 0.1%, while production of goods and services contrasts slightly. Exports also grew strong in Germany, helped by the weak euro. Finland's economy reached a second quarter of contraction, down 0.4%, having recorded negative growth of 0.1% in Q1. Preliminary figures from Greece suggest the economy grew considerably better than expected, 0.8% in Q2, while the first quarter figure was revised from a 0.2% contraction to zero growth. Well, Greece is starting, as they say, to wake up, sort of a Rip Van Winkle, as we'd say in the U.S. here. And from China. Says it will stabilize the stock market for a number of years to come. The role of the state-backed Chinese Security Finance Corporation stabilize the markets would not change. However, it added that it would allow market forces to play a bigger role in settling market prices. Now, this has been a big argument in terms of what is called risk in many countries, modern capitalist countries and mixed economy countries such as China. The Shanghai, that's the benchmark Shanghai composite, closed up 0.3% at 3,965.33 points. The Hang Seng dropped 0.1% there, and the central bank see the yuan rate at 6.3975 to the dollar.